Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for my teen romantic comedy SNAFU, aka Oregairu, episode 8. Alright, season 2, episode 8. Alright. And the entire this entire episode is pretty much 3 scenes, okay? The first scene takes up the entire first half of the episode, and that is the conversation between Hikigaya and Shizuka, okay, or Hiratsuka sensei. Alright. And it actually starts off with her. Well, first she drove up and happened to pass him, so she let him into the car and decided to drive him home. But they stop on this bridge on the way there. All right, and Shizuka asks Hikigaya how things are going. All right, and when she says that, she's actually talking about the situation between him, Yui, and Yukino. But he actually ends up interpreting it as her asking about the Christmas event and how things are going with Iroha and Tamanawa and them. All right, but she just goes with it for a little bit at least. All right, and he talks about how neither Tamanawa nor Iroha actually want to do anything because neither of them want to fail. So everything else is just failing because of it, and everything, and things just aren't working, and they don't have enough time to fix any of this, and it's just not, it's just broken. All right, things are just broken. All right, and Shizuka's response to this is to tell him that he's he's good at reading people's mental states, and because of that, he was able to provide a somewhat accurate judgment of what the situation was. But he's not good at reading people's emotions. All right, and that's not a good thing because a person's mental state and their emotions don't always line up. So you won't be able to properly read a person or predict the conclusions that they'll come to in their head as to how they'll act. All right, you won't be able to actually accurately read them every single time unless you're good at reading both mental states and emotions. Okay, and since Hikigaya isn't good at one of them, his readings are sometimes off, which will explain why he can help in a situation like with Tobe, in episode 2, but he can fail with someone like Rumi, okay? Because sometimes he's right, but sometimes he's wrong, because he's not accurate when he's reading people. He's got one prerequisite, but not the second, okay? And it turns out, and she actually uses this to, Shizuka, I mean, she actually uses this to bring it back to Yui and Yukino, saying that the two of them are the same way. They can't read both as well. Okay, and that's why the three of them always act in ways that hurt themselves and hurt each other because they just can't read each other properly. So they think that what they're doing is going to help in the grand scheme of things, but in reality, it's not helping at all. Okay, they can't accurately figure out each other's motivations and what they really want. So they'll think, oh, well, they're acting this way because of this. So if I do this, then everything will be fine. But they're not reading the other person the right way. So what they're doing just ends up hurting even more. Okay, um, which is it's it's why both Yukino and Hikigaya have come to this conclusion that they should just distance themselves from each other as a way to keep themselves from hurting the others. But I'll get to that later. All right. Um, after Shizuka tells Hikigaya about this, her advice to him is in order to fix it, is to, when he's thinking about a situation, to lay out all the possibilities. Okay, think of all of them, and then use the process of elimination to try and figure out what the true reasoning, what the true motivation is. Okay, so if you're trying to figure out why it is that Yukino wants to become president, then think of all the reasons that you can possibly think of, and then with the process of elimination, say, okay, it can't be this. It definitely can't be this. As far as this goes, I can't really see it, but I can't disprove it either, so I'll just leave that here for now. Okay, what about this? Okay, that's a possibility, but that, no, that can't be that. All right, so that's what she wants him to do, pretty much. All right, and Hikigaya, he doesn't really fully understand that, and Shizuka was going to be like, Shizuka was Shizuka was just going to let him think about it on his own and try to figure it out, but something happens that makes her give him a hint, all right, and actually go deeper into it. And that thing that happens is she ends up talking about how she herself is not that she's not that good at calculating people's emotions. Okay, she's not good at reading them, and then she says that that's why she's not married yet, while her friends are off getting married. Okay, and Hikigaya tells her no. Actually, the reason you're not married is because the guys you know have really bad taste. Okay, which it's essentially Hikigaya telling her that she's a good woman and that any guy would be lucky to be with her. All right. And that caught her completely by surprise because this is essentially Hikigaya saying, you know, you're a great woman, you know, like that's like it caught her completely by surprise, and she started blushing too, and which makes sense because this is your student who usually shows no interest in this kind of thing, saying that he views you as someone who would make a great wife, someone who deserves marriage, someone who deserves love, and that he can see that you're a great like it's just awkward for her, you know. And Hikigai actually thought to himself that if he was closer to her age, like 10 years or so, that he would actually probably be in love with her, which I kind of wish he had said that out loud, but you know, I understand why that didn't happen. Um, at the end of the day, Yui is the end game here. So I understand they already introduced Iroha to throw a wrench in things. And Yukino is there as well. You've got Haruna there too. Like it's or no, wait, no, her name's Haruno. Haruno. Yukino's sister. Okay, whatever. A O. It doesn't matter what vowel it ends with. Okay, the point is you've already got a lot of people in there and you don't need to be adding Shizuka in there as well. Though she's great because she's one of the few people who truly understands Hikigaya. You know, she does, Hayama does, Haruno to an extent kind of understands him more so than Yui and Yukino at least. Um, you know, that's really that's really it. Oh, Komachi, there we go, Komachi. Komachi understands him because she grew up with him. Okay, but that's not that many. It's not that many. Okay, so Shizuka. Oh, and Haruno, despite the fact that she kind of understands him, she just like messes with him on a regular basis. So Hikigaya wants nothing to do with her. Okay, so when it comes to females who care about him, when it comes to females who understand him and also care about him, there are only two, and one of them is his sister. Okay, so yeah, all right. So Shizuka, it actually does make sense for Shizuka to end up with Hikigaya, but it's not going to happen. Um, though it would be great if it did, but it's not. So I'll just have to get over it. All right. But she is grateful for the compliment though that he values her that much, and so to repay him for this, she decides to give him a hint as to how to accurately judge people, not judge people, how to accurately read people. Okay, and her example for this is Hikigaya's reasoning for wanting to help Iroha on his own rather than um, help her as a club, you know, as a service club. Okay, and she told him to like think of all the possibilities and then process of elimination, figure out the one that's right, pretty much. And in this case, Shizuka just tells him straight up, listen, the reason why you're helping Iroha on your own, it's for Yukino's sake, okay? Because I was talking before about how both Yukino and Hikigaya are doing this thing where they distance themselves from each other to try and protect each other, pretty much, because they realize that the things they do are actually hurting them. So Shizuka ends up telling Hikigaya the reason you're doing this on your own is because you are trying to distance yourself from Yui and Yukino so that you don't hurt them. Okay? And then she tells him, alright, listen, you have to go another level deep on this. Okay? You can't just ask yourself why you're helping Iroha. Once you figure that out, you then have to ask yourself why again. Okay, so why are you helping Iroha? It's because you don't want Yui and Yukino to get hurt. Alright, so why don't you want Yui and Yukino to be hurt? That's the question that she wants him to figure out. Okay, so she wants him to go an extra layer deep. Alright, and the answer to that is because they're important to him. Alright, so he can actually go a third level deep here. Alright, so why is he helping Iroha? Because he doesn't want Yui and Yukino to get hurt. Why does he not want them to get hurt? Because they're important to him. Why are they important to him? There you go, third level. All right, so you can actually go 3 levels deep there in order to try and actually Hikigaya does do this because after this whole conversation ends and Hiki's back at his house, he's sitting there thinking about things, thinking about all the situations that he's in, all the problems he has, and he's starting to think about what it is he truly wants. He actually starts to think about all this, and I'll get to that at the end of the review. Okay, all right, but yeah, that's the extent of what Shizuka told him in that first half of the episode. All right, in terms of helping him try to understand people more accurately. All right, but she also mentions that it's possible that he might not have to do all that because Yukino is in the same situation as he is, so it's possible that she could be the one to come to that answer as well, and then she will be the one to act, and then they'll end up helping each other through that as well. All right, but she thinks it would be best if Hikigaya were the one who came to the answer. Then he and Yui together could then bring Yukino up and help her. All right, that's what she thinks would be the best case scenario here. All right, but once he does get home, like I said, he tries to calculate out every scenario, goes a couple layers deep. Like, for instance, he asked himself why he's so quick to depend on others for assistance when it comes to like solving problems, and he ends up realizing that he's similar to Yukino. Surprise, surprise! All right, where it was mentioned a few episodes ago that Yukino needs a problem slash a reason in order to realize what it is she wants to do, and Hikigaya is actually the same. Okay, because it took Komachi asking him to not let the club break up to realize that he didn't want Yui or Yukino to become president. And then he had to think, why did I think that? Why did I not want Yui or Yukino to become president? Okay, so then he tries to take it a couple layers deep. All right, and he realizes that it's because he has something that he wants. The reason he didn't want the club to break up is because he wants something, and he ends up addressing that in this third and final portion of the episode, this amazing, beautiful 10-minute scene, okay, where he ends up taking this to Yui and Yukino and actually making a request of them, okay, which goes back to Shizuka saying how he and Yui together could get inside Yukino, as she put it, and help her, all right, and honestly, I really wanted this to happen. Like when I heard the knocking at the door, I was thinking to myself, please be Hikigaya. Please be Hikigaya. Then he opened the door and it was. I'm like, okay. Now don't sit where you usually sit. Please sit in front of them. Please do it. Please just make the request. I know you want to. Just make a request, okay? And I had a feeling it was gonna happen, but I wasn't sure. But then when he finally did sit down in front of them, I was just like, yes, he's doing it. Character growth, yes. All right, Hikigaya's character is just so awesome. Like, it really is. He grows so much. It's incredible. This entire season has been nothing but character growth. That's the entire purpose of the season. Honestly, the way the season is going so far, it looks as though the end of the season could give us so much satisfaction in terms of solving all of these problems and conflicts that I'm honestly not sure if I'd want a third season. Because the second season will end in a way that's so satisfying that You know, the only way a third season could happen is if they introduced more conflict and then tried to solve it. But I like the way the season will end. I'm pretty sure it'll just be so satisfying that like I'm not sure I'd want that. You know, like these characters will have grown to a point where they've finally overcome their pasts and they've finally grown and reached a point where they can truly have like where they can all three of them can have a genuine relationship with each other, and then to ruin that just for the sake of a third season, like I kind of don't want that, you know. Like it's weird. I Oregairu is great, and if it, and I would be happy for it to get a third season, but at the same time I kind of don't want it to have one, so like because it would ruin season two, you know, and a great ending I'm sure it'll have. All right, but anyway, um yeah, where was I? Where was I? Let's see, Hikigaya request. Yeah, okay, yeah, there we go. All right. Yeah, Hikigaya wanted to make a request of Yui and Yukino. All right, and he ends up asking them to help with the Christmas event. And Yukino actually turns him down at first because, like Shizuka said, she's trying to distance herself. Okay, and Hikigaya was about to give up because he figured that this was the wrong way to go about it and he should think of a different way to try and help. Alright, but Yui stops him and she's the one who keeps the scene going. Okay, and she says that because the reason why Yukino turned him down in the first place is because all of these problems that he brought up, that Hikigaya brought up, were all problems caused by him. Alright, and Yukino says, you know, these are your problems. You're the one who created them, so you have to fix them on your own. Alright, which kind of defeats the purpose of the service club, because the point of the service club is to help people with the problems that they can't solve on their own. But whatever, whatever. Like I said, this is just an excuse for her because she wants to distance herself. Alright? But Yui steps in and says, no, like it's not just his fault. Like these problems are not just his fault, it's all of our faults. We've all had a part in it. We've all had a part in ensuring that these things happen, you know? And Yui and Yukino here, they kind of go at it, you know. Like Yukino says that because Yui was criticizing Yukino for her keeping things to herself and not telling them what was wrong, you know, because Yukino hasn't been herself for a while, like I stated last week. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Anyway, like a review or two ago, I said this, okay, and and Yui's saying, you know, that it's not fair for her to have kept those things to herself. All right. And Yukino's saying, hey, I might have kept things to myself, but you were keeping stuff to yourself too, okay? Like remember how Yui never actually approached Yukino and said she was going to run for president, like stuff like that. Like Yui has kept things to herself as well. She knew that her running for president, if she did win, it would still break up the club anyway. But she was keeping that to herself. She was keeping her reason for running for president to herself, kind of, at least from Yukino. Um, just her entire thought process, really. Like, that's what the three of them have been doing, just keeping all their thoughts to themselves and not explaining things, all right? And Yukino says, listen, you've been doing the same thing I have. As a matter of fact, your only reason you're still even conversing with me is to keep up appearances, to fool yourself into thinking that things are really okay when they're not. All right, and that's true. It is. It really is. All right. But then Hickey comes back into the conversation, and he says that there are some things that can't be understood even if they're told to you. Okay, because the two of them are thinking, you know, if we don't tell each other things, then how are we going to understand how the other feels? Hikigaya says even if we did tell each other, there's no guarantee we can understand. All right. And when he said that, I instantly thought of Hikigaya's "I hate nice girls" speech back from season one. All right, when Yui was trying to kind of show her feelings for Hikigaya, and Hiki just stopped her and said, "Listen, all right, I understand. I saved your dog. I understand that doing it got me hit by a car, and I understand that that there's a decent sized chance that you feel guilty for that. All right." And if the only reason you're talking to me, if the only reason you're acting this way towards me is because you feel guilty, then stop. All right, because it's okay, because it's been repaid. All right, everything's fine. You don't need to keep doing this to me. All right. And Yui was trying to tell him, you know, no, I'm not. I'm not doing this because I feel guilty. I'm doing this because I actually do care about you, you know. And she tried to tell him that, but Hikigaya, despite the fact that he was being told that, didn't understand. All right, so Hikigaya is saying all this now about how there are some things that can't be understood, even if they're told to you. It's like everything's coming full circle now, okay, which is great. It's you know that this was the point where like I just this was the point where the episode just like surpassed my expectations. Okay, it really did. All right, and it just kept rising and rising too. All right, because Hikigaya finally, after this, decides that he's going to tell us what it is he's realized that he wants. Okay, what he wanted by keeping Yui and Yukino from becoming president. That is specifically. All right, and as he begins to tell us this, he actually breaks down and he starts to cry. You know, this caught me by surprise because I had a feeling. I always thought that there was a chance that in this season we would see a different side of Hikigaya as far as emotion goes. I thought that there was a point in this. I thought that there would be a point in the season where Hikigaya reached a limit and just broke down. But I thought it would be like I didn't think it would be sadness like this. I thought it would be anger. You know, I thought it would be people constantly telling him that they don't like his methods for doing things, despite the fact that they are constantly relying on him to fix everything. You know, I thought it would be him finally getting fed up with that and just like accidentally letting out some of that pent up aggression and just like lashing out at people and then like stopping himself and realizing, oh my god, what am I doing? This isn't me. This isn't me. This isn't how I'm supposed to act. This isn't how I'm supposed to be. What's going on? And then just like not knowing what to do and just like staring at him and just like retreating out of the room real quick. You know, like I thought it would be something like that, but I didn't expect him to break down in this way where he just like starts crying and like just just being true to himself and letting them know what he wants, you know? Like this was unexpected for us, I'm sure, and also for Yui and Yukino, because you can see them, they're just shocked. Okay? And Hikigai's quote here, I mean, it speaks for itself, really, it really does. I'll just read it off for you here. He says, "What I want isn't words. What I wanted was definitely there. And it wasn't mutual understanding or to be friends or to be together or anything like that. I don't want to be understood. I want to understand. I want to understand. I want to know. I want to feel at ease knowing. I want peace of mind because not understanding terrifies me. Saying I want to understand everything is extremely self-righteous. It's a dictatorial and a conceited wish. It's shameless and repulsive, and I'm absolutely disgusted at myself for wanting that. But if we feel the same way, if a relationship exists where we can force that ugly self-consciousness upon each other and accept it, I know there's no way that can happen. I realize it's completely out of reach, but still I want the real thing. All right. And I saw a comment on Crunchyroll that said that in the light novels, he didn't say I want the real thing. Instead, he said I want something genuine. All right. But either way, you can kind of see that um, he what he wants. He says he wants to understand, you know, and that is kind of hard to understand. You know, you want to understand what everything. Like that's it's just like it's what he says. It's it's a, like what like you want to understand everything. Like what but at the end there, it does make it kind of easier to see if you use that light novel quote, because I don't read the light novels for this, but according to that person on Crunchyroll, he says, I want the genuine thing. When by saying that, you can kind of figure out that he's saying he wants to have a genuine relationship where he doesn't have to worry about being hurt, because you go back to season 1 and that's how he became who he is right now, because he was a loner, but he was afraid to get hurt, because the few times he did actually go out on a limb and actually put himself out there, he got hurt because of it. You know, he would get rejected by people, and he would always get made fun of for it and torn down, and he just boxed himself away. He boxed his heart away, and he didn't want to let anyone get close to him out of fear that he would get this false hope and that he would end up being hurt again. but this time he's he is being genuine to Yui and Yukino and telling them like, I just want a genuine relationship where I'm not going to be hurt, where where I'm with people who are similar to me. And if there is a way, I know it's self-righteous and conceited and like, dictatorial and all that stuff. I know it's that way, but if the three of us are all like that and we're able to pull this off the right way where the three of us can end up having a genuine relationship. I know it's reach, but if we can do it, then I want to do it. If we can have a genuine relationship like that, then I want to have that relationship, you know? And it's, it was honestly, it was great, because this is the first time we've seen Hikigaya be true to himself, And it's unfortunate because he didn't actually say all of that out loud. So all Yukino and Yui heard him say was, I want the real thing. I want something genuine. And they don't really know how to process that. But Yui just recognized right away that this is the first time Hikigaya is being true to himself in front of the two of them. So she accepts it, but Yukino doesn't know how to process it. So she just kind of like, she just tries to retreat, kind of like how I thought Hikigaya would do if he lashed out against people. She just doesn't know what to do, so she just leaves. She just runs off and goes to the roof, okay? And Yui and Hikigaya have to go up after her and follow her. And credit to Iroha because she's the one who told them that she was on that Yukino was on the roof. But her, I don't even like what like wait, it's like why was Iroha even why like she was completely unnecessary in this episode. Like she she told Hikigaya that she wanted him for two things. One, to tell him that there was no meeting that day, which I mean, if you have a week left until the Christmas event and you currently have no Christmas event, then you need to be working on that event every day. You need to be meeting for hours every single day. You can't afford to have a day off with no meeting, but whatever. Okay, whatever. Okay, she came to tell him about the fact that there was no meeting that day, which maybe there was. Maybe there was a meeting, and she realized, she read the atmosphere and realized like this is he cannot be interrupted right now. There's something really important going on, something that he has to do, and I can't tear him away from that. So maybe that was it. Maybe she read the atmosphere and just lied to him and told him that there was no meeting, or maybe, all right, but chances are there just wasn't a meeting because let me think about it. It's Iroha and Tamanawa leading this crap. All right, like so chances are there was no meeting. All right, but that was the first thing. The second thing was to tell them that Yukino was on the roof. So again, like I don't really know this was necessary to have her in the episode. They could have just, I don't know how Yukino ran away that quickly. Like did she really get out of sight that fast? Like whatever, but Iroha told them that Yukino was in the roof, so they go up to the roof, and this was just like the Yui show, because Yui's the one who ended up bringing Yukino over the edge and convincing her to accept Hikigaya's request. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's how the episode ends. Yui gets Yukino to accept Hikigaya's request. All right, and I mean honestly, it was a beautiful 10-minute scene. It really was. That scene was beautiful. The first scene, I honestly thought the first scene in the episode with Shizuka and Hikigaya, I thought that would have been the best scene of the episode, right? But then it got even better with that short scene with Hikigaya just thinking about everything and trying to figure out what it is he wanted. Then it got even better with this scene. Right? This scene was beautiful. It really was. This episode far exceeded my expectations. All right, it really did. It was just a beautiful episode, so I'll give it. Like honestly, I'm like a 9.5 out of 10. Like it's like I'm struggling between. Excuse me, I'm struggling between a 9.5 and a 10 because it truly was an awesome episode. But like, it's always hard for me to give tens because like I don't want to give them out often, so I always wait for those episodes that like have it like, and I can't really explain what it is, but I know like when I see an awesome episode, there are times when I just like throw my arms up, and just like lean backward and say like, this is awesome, 10 out of 10. You know, like this is just awesome. You know, like, but this was an episode where I was just like, oh my god, this is great. This is just great. This is beautiful. You know, like, and it's like I can't really figure out whether or not I want to give it a 9.5 or a 10. But the point is, it was an awesome episode. Okay, that's the point. All right. And this is an episode you can't really like watch out of nowhere. Like, you can't just randomly go back and watch this episode and expect it to be as good, because in order for this episode to be good, you have to get that development from the beginning of the season. Okay, not even the season, just the beginning of the series, but mostly the season. Okay, you just have to watch episodes 1 through 7 before watching this in order to realize just how amazing this episode is. You know, so it's you know, I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. How about that? 9.5 out of 10. I mean, it was just an awesome episode. It really was. Oregairu is just great. It's just great. Again, and I don't know if I want a third season, because the way it's gonna end. It's gonna, it just having a third season seems like it might ruin the ending. You know, like everything will be K now. Everything will be K. All right, everything will be great. Everything will be okay, and then you ruin it just for the sake of having a conflict for the third season. Like, I don't know if I want that, but honestly, this guy was great, and this episode was great. I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10, and that's that, guys. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.